Number 1. FBI agent assaults his wife. A hero of the FBI in the state of Michigan, Richard Trask, was a man whose signature helped bring in over a dozen far-right militants who were plotting to arrest the state governor, Gretchen Whitmer. However, both his personal life and career came to a crashing halt pretty soon when he was arrested for allegedly assaulting his wife after attending a swingers party. At around 2 a.m. on July 18, 2021, the Kalamazoo County Sheriffs responded to a call made by Trask's wife, Heather Fulke. When the deputies arrived, she told them the whole story. According to Heather, she and the FBI special agent had attended a swingers party in a Kalamazoo area hotel. She made it pretty clear that she didn't want to be a part of this event, but still went with it. On their way home, the couple started arguing, but things turned physical once they got home.
And at one point took your head and hit it against the nightstand?
Yeah.
How many times do you think you did that?
After climbing on top and bashing her head against the nightstand, Fulke tried to free herself by grabbing his beard. That's when Trask began to strangle and choke her before she hit him in the groin and stopped him. When the assault finally came to an end, Trask left the house, got in his wife's vehicle, and went out. The deputies that arrived at the scene took notice of the injuries from the brutal beating she was subjected to. An affidavit filed in July by the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office in Kalamazoo County District Court said Trask's wife had bloody lacerations to the right side of her head and blood all over her chest, clothing, arms, and hand, as well as severe bruising to her neck and throat following the alleged incident. About 2 hours later, Richard Trask was found in the car driving around a parking lot of a supermarket on Main Street in Ashtimo Township. The officers walked up to his vehicle and asked him to come out. Despite being shirtless and his face still bloody from the fight, he gave the officers a pretty confused look as he stepped out. As the officers directed him to turn around, he even asked,
"What is going on? What is going on?"
He was charged with assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder. Trask was released on a $10,000 bail and was prohibited from carrying a firearm. Later on, in September, he was fired from his position as a federal agent. In December 2020, Trask pleaded no contest to the aggravated assault charges against him at a court hearing. Judge Giger sentenced Trask, a first-time offender, to time served and ordered him to pay $500 in court costs plus fees. Trask's attorney, Sarissa K. Montague, told the Detroit News after the hearing, "This was a difficult situation for the family, and we are looking forward to moving forward." Trask expressed regret as he read a statement. "The events in July were a tragedy, and I take full responsibility for my actions, which caused pain and suffering for my wife and my family," he said. "My own guilt and sorrow will long outweigh any decisions made by the court." Although this was a pretty tragic case of domestic violence, our next story deals with an agent opening fire at one of his own. Number 2. FBI Special Agent opens fire at police sergeant. It's pretty much a guarantee that if you point a weapon at a law enforcement officer, the consequences will not be in your favor, even if you're an officer yourself. But this FBI Special Agent did the unthinkable. Special Agent Ruben Hernandez fired multiple rounds at a Grand Rapids police sergeant before being taken into custody. Hernandez had arrived in Michigan on December 5th for an investigative assignment and was slated to return to Nevada on December 7th. He had been drinking prior to the shooting. The shooting happened at around 1:30 a.m. on December 6th at Planet Fitness on 28th Street in Grand Rapids. According to Grand Rapids police, Hernandez walked into the Planet Fitness gym brandishing a gun in his hands. The police were called, and when they arrived, Hernandez fired 3 shots from about 30 to 35 yards away at a police sergeant, Neil Gomez. At the time, about 7 people were inside the gym. No one was hurt. The officer did not return fire and also came out unscathed. Reinforcements came in just a few minutes, with a whole team of officers carrying shields and in tactical gear. By the time the unit got to the location, Ruben had already surrendered. He was lying down and sprawled out on the concrete, while his gun was also found in the parking lot. Hernandez was put in handcuffs and placed under arrest. While in the police van, it became pretty clear that the FBI agent was not mentally sound when he committed the act. He seemed pretty confused in his interview as well.
"Anybody that's wearing this uniform, I will not hurt you, ma'am."
Then, about 15 minutes later, the brain fog starts to clear a bit.
Who knows? My career's probably over.
It was later revealed that he was intoxicated. Hernandez had a blood alcohol level of 0.13%. A motorist presumed intoxicated at just 0.08%. He had no recollection of the incident. On February 24th, 2017, Hernandez pled no contest to the charges before a Grand Rapids District Judge, Janine LaVille, after waiving his rights to a probable cause hearing. 2 months later, he had a hearing at the Kent County Circuit Court in front of Judge Dennis B. Lieber. Prosecutors had floated the idea that Hernandez avoid jail time, but Judge Lieber dismissed that recommendation. Anytime anyone takes a shot at any peace officer, being locked up is a reality, said Judge Lieber. He further added, I could not in good conscience follow the prosecutor's recommendation of no jail. Lieber sentenced Hernandez to 135 days in jail with credit for 1 day served. He called his sentencing a tragic circumstance. The judge also placed Hernandez on probation for 2 years. In exchange for a no contest plea to assault with a dangerous weapon, a 4-year offense, prosecutors dropped a more serious charge and a misdemeanor count of brandishing a firearm in public. The special agent was removed from his position at the FBI in Las Vegas and would be allowed to serve his probation in the state of Nevada once his jail sentence is completed. Although Agent Hernandez put the lives of the public and police officers in danger with his irresponsible actions, this next story is about an FBI agent who colluded with foreign parties for his own personal benefit. Number 3. Top FBI agent sells his services. In the early months of 2022, Charles McGonigal, a retired head of counterintelligence for the FBI's New York field office, found himself in a heap of trouble. The 22-year veteran of the federal agency was arrested at JFK International Airport and charged with 2 separate indictments for his alleged involvement in illegal activities. Firstly, he concealed hundreds of thousands of dollars he received from a former employee of an Albanian intelligence agency while he was a top official at the Bureau. And second, his alleged relationship with a sanctioned Russian oligarch after his retirement from the FBI. The first indictment, filed in federal court in Washington, D.C., accuses McGonigal of accepting $225,000 in cash from an individual with business interests in Europe who had been a spy in the Albanian intelligence service decades earlier. McGonigal was the special agent in charge of FBI counterintelligence efforts in the New York office at the time. The charge suggests that he took the money while in that position and it was concealed for a long time. Prosecutors also allege that during a meeting, McGonigal urged the Prime Minister of Albania to be careful about awarding oil-filled drilling licenses in Albania to Russian front companies. The former employee of Albanian intelligence, who paid him $225,000, had a financial interest in the government's decision about the contracts, as per the allegations. There are also allegations that McGonigal received $80,000 in cash while sitting in a parked car outside of a restaurant in New York City. The second indictment, filed in New York, is more explosive. It alleges that while McGonigal was in the FBI, he met a Russian interpreter named Shestakov in 2018. They met through a Russian intelligence officer who was previously a diplomat for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the Soviet Union and Russian Federation. Shestakov was later revealed to be working for a Russian oligarch, Deripaska, who was sanctioned by the U.S. for interfering in the 2016 elections. Together, McGonigal and Shestakov's main goal was to dig up dirt on Deripaska's rival. After McGonigal retired from the FBI in 2018, he was hired as a consultant for a New York law firm working on Deripaska's sanctions. In 2019, McGonigal traveled to London and Vienna to meet with Deripaska and others in an attempt to get the Russian oligarch delisted from the U.S. sanctions list. By 2021, McGonigal and Shestakov were allegedly working directly for Deripaska, using shell companies and forged signatures to receive payments from the Russian oligarch, all the while trying to conceal their involvement with him. In November of that year, however, the FBI seized their personal electronic devices, which put an end to their scheme. McGonigal has denied all allegations, including violating U.S. sanctions, conspiracy, and money laundering, and has pleaded not guilty. Despite this, he was released on a $500,000 bond. As of March 2023, he is currently under federal indictment for his crimes. If you want to support the channel, please subscribe. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time.